Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a different type of video. I'm going to be doing a live com game week 4 wildcard draft, where I take you guys through my current draft for my wildcard, which as it has been activated. I'm going to go through and we're going to have a look at this current game week that we're going into, but also sort of 4 or 5 game weeks in advance as well, just to show you guys how the team shapes up, the sort of transfers that I'm looking at booking in later down the line, and a whole lot more. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today on my YouTube channel for another video. Before we get into this one, if you wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up and subscribing down below, it would be greatly appreciated. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be a different style video today. I'm going to be doing this all live. So if there is any mistakes, if there's any, audio slip-ups or whatever, I do apologize. This is all going to be done in front of you guys. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm going to share my screen now. And as you can see, this is my current wildcard draft that I've got going to game week 4. Let's just talk about a quick starting 11 for this. So I've actually got this team will be going into game week 4 in a 4-4-2. So as you can see, I've got Emi Martinez in goal. Now let's just have a look at Aston Villa's fixtures coming up, and I'll show you the reason why. So as you can see, Everton, Wolves, both at home, followed by Ipswich away, Man United, Fulham, Bournemouth. So for the next sort of 5-6 game weeks, they've got very good fixtures. So it's one transfer you won't actually have to worry about making with the goalkeeper. Now, goalkeepers there's a lot of controversy around them at this point. Do you go for the 4.5s? There's not really a great deal of them. Do you invest the extra bit of money and go into a 5 million? Now, I'm going to start this video with Martinez in goal, but by the end of it, you'll see why I'm also contemplating starting with the 4.5, because that 5 million difference could have an effect later down the line in terms of transfers to be made. So into the back 4, pretty standard. Trent kind of goes out saying he's going to be there. My biggest worry about this is obviously doubling up with Luca Digne for Aston Villa. Now, I don't think Aston Villa are a great defence. I think they're okay, but they have got the fixtures. And I do expect some clean sheets to be happening throughout. Now, Digne for me is somebody, we just jump over to actual FPL here and we'll just take a look at him. And most importantly, his minutes. Now, obviously, you have to remember that Champions League's going to be starting up. So as we can see here, 73 in game week 1, 75 in game week 2, and obviously the 90 in game week 3. Now, he's someone who I don't know how they're going to rotate him in the Champions League. Obviously, they've got Ian Maatsen there. But the good thing about Aston Villa defenders is that, as I can show you just here, all of them, if not most of them, are actually 4.5 million. So it doesn't really matter about which one you go for. Pau Torres, again, another one who's probably going to guarantee minutes. Same with Ezri Konsa as well. So, there's options there that you can go with. But I think for me, Luca Digne is someone who, if he's guaranteed the minutes, I'd want him because I think he offers the attacking threat that maybe the others don't. Rico Lewis. Now, here's the big one. He is a rotation risk. And I think if you're bringing him in, you have to understand that there is a possibility of him being benched at some stage in the future. Now, he started the season off very well. He's been, starting right back and playing exceptionally well for them. I do worry about his minutes going forward because obviously Kyle Walker is still there. He's fit. He's not in England. He didn't make the England squad for this international break, so he's going to want to play as well. So I think that's one to watch out for, which is why, for me, if you are going to pick him, you're going to need rotation. So as of right now, I've got Mosquera as my 5th defender from Wolves. As we can see, Wolves haven't really got the best of fixtures coming up, so I probably won't play him. But I do have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who could come in to replace him if needs be, but I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in the video. And then the last defender we've got is Mazraoui, obviously Southampton away, great fixture. Decent-ish fixtures for the upcoming run, Crystal Palace, Spurs, Aston Villa, Brentford, West Ham. Not the best, not the worst, but he's just kind of a make way for now. Then we jump onto the midfield. Now, this is where the big money signing is, and that's Mo Salah has finally come into the team. He started the season just so well. If we take a look at him over on Fantasy Premier League, I think he's somebody that I think we all knew he would do well, but I don't know if we knew that he would start the season that well, if that makes sense. Started off with 3 double-digit hauls, and we'll just take a look at him here. Look at that. 14 points in the first game, 10 in the second, 17 in the most recent one. Averaging, look, his expected goal contribution is insane. 0.85, 0.75, 1.13. So he just goes to show that Salah is he's still as amazing as he is. And nearly, look, 8 bonus points over the course of 3 games. He's almost averaging three a game, which, if you've got him for those games, you probably made him captain. So you're laughing, really. So yeah, Mo Salah for me had to be the one to come in. We're going to pair him up with Jota. Now, there's a big debate around Jota or Diaz as the second option. For me personally, I think both of them are going to have their weeks where they do well. The amount of goals that Liverpool score in their front 3, they're going to be shed around at some point. Now, obviously, Diaz has started the season a little bit better than Jota, but that's not to say that Jota can't get goals in the next upcoming games. We look at Liverpool's next 3 fixtures. They're at Anfield for Forest, at Anfield against Bournemouth, and then away to a Wolves side who haven't started the season that well. So there's definitely goals there for Diogo Jota. So yeah, for me, double up in the midfield with Liverpool. We'll couple that up with Morgan Rogers, who just stays there. He's a great enabler. If you've got him in the start of the season, 5 million. As we said, look at Everton's fixtures coming up. Excuse me, not Everton's fixtures. We see Aston Villa's fixtures coming up, a lot of greens in there. So, yeah, I do expect Morgan Rogers to start getting some attacking returns soon. Garnacho also in there. Again, he's going to be someone that we sort of use in and out depending on what the fixtures are like. But to be honest with you, even these fixtures here, they don't look great defensively for me, which is why Garnacho's in there, because I do think he can get joy against them. And to be honest with you, I do expect him to start playing now for Man United, because he has been, as we'll see here, he's been, their sort of, I guess, bright spark for them. Hasn't really started many games. The first 2 games come off the bench, which was understandable. He got back late with Argentina. So was he match fit? Probably not. But as we can see there, look, 0.68 expected goals, 0.71. So yeah, in that Fulham game, probably should have had a guaranteed goal. So his point should be high. Obviously, the game against Liverpool, he did start, but obviously only got 2 points. But Liverpool are just a fantastic side, and were much better than Man United on the day. So he's in there for a good cause as well. And plus, he's fairly cheap for the price you're paying for him. So I wasn't too mad about that. And then it brings us on to the strikers now, Haaland and Welbeck. For me, the big one, obviously, Erling Haaland's going to stay in there. At the time of recording, he's 66.4% owned. He started the season, I think, around 40%. So you see the price rise there for him. And then Danny Welbeck is the other one. There's a lot of talk between him and João Pedro. Now, the reason why I've gone for Danny Welbeck in this team over João Pedro is one of 2 reasons. Number one, I think Welbeck's a much more explosive asset than João Pedro is. I think João Pedro gives you the consistency and, of course, has the penalties. But I think Welbeck has got the chance and the higher ceiling for the double-digit hauls, which is what I'm looking to attack. But also, João Pedro's gone away for Brazil, so he's going to be getting back a lot later. And Brighton have got a lot of attacking options. So for me, I think that there's definitely room for them to want to be. So I'm going to get on to Mitoma in the midfield. Now, he's somebody that I think will continue to start. I'm a little bit worried about him coming back, as he's playing later in the week for Japan. But I do think he will start, and I think if he does start, he will get a return against Ipswich. So I do like the idea of having Mitoma in this team. That brings us nicely onto the forwards. As you can see, Erling Haaland in there on the captaincy. Kind of just picks himself really at this point. He's just so good. If we look now, his percentage owned is 66.4%. At the start of the season, I think he was around 40. So you can see in the space of 3 weeks how many people have realised how essential Haaland is. And I think he's probably the closest player that you can get to being essential in FPL. The other striker that we've got up front is Danny Welbeck. Now, there is a lot of debate between Welbeck or João Pedro. Obviously, both playing for, a good Brighton attacking side. Fixture-wise, look, Ipswich and Nottingham Forest is the next 2 up for them. I think the reason why I've chosen Welbeck is for one of 2 reasons. Number one, I think between Welbeck and João Pedro, I think Welbeck has the highest ceiling for hauls, where I think João Pedro is probably a little bit more of a consistent player, maybe a 6 to an 8, whereas I think Danny Welbeck, you'll see either a 2 or you'll see a 12 to 14. And I think for me, I think the upside of these next 2 fixtures, I kind of want to chase. So I've gone for Welbeck in this one. But yeah, it's very close between both of them. Also, remember, João Pedro's gone away with Brazil, so that could mean that he's travelling back a little bit later than was naturally expected from him. So that's the other reason why I've gone for Danny Welbeck. Okay, so let's look at what the team will look like in Game Week 5 now. So if I just jump over here, this is what the setup currently looks like for Game Week 5. As you can see, it's still in a 4-4-2. So the only thing I think I would change to this would I'd probably bench Rico Lewis for the Arsenal game and bring in Calvert-Lewin for the game against Leicester. Mo Salah would obviously be the captain. And this team pretty much, again, picks itself. So I'd roll the transfer. Predicted points at 55.5. Not bad. Just take those predictions with a pinch of salt because they can change. Defence, I'm pretty happy with. Again, Everton, the Aston Villa double up is a little bit wary for me. But you know what? I think in terms of the fixtures that they've got, I do expect them to keep some clean sheets in there. And I think everyone else kind of just picks themselves in there. I'm not comfortable about owning double Manchester United, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it's for these fixtures, Crystal Palace away haven't been great defensively. I think I'm okay to get away with it. So then we'll just jump forward now to Game Week 6, which is where the transfers that we want to make start happening. So we look at the Game Week 16. So we go into it with 2 free transfers, of course. 1.9 million in the bank. This is what the team looks like on paper. For me, I'd probably want to use both my free transfers in this game week. Now, obviously, Game Week 6, Arsenal's fixtures really do swing. And the hard part is, do you get rid of Mo Salah to go to Bukayo Saka? Obviously, Saka's got Leicester at home, Southampton at home, followed by Bournemouth away. That's 3 fantastic fixtures, whereas Salah has got Wolves away, he's got Crystal Palace away and Chelsea at home. Now, I don't actually think that there's much dissimilar fixtures here, because even though Arsenal on paper have got the better fixtures, you can never rule Mo Salah out. And would it surprise anyone if over those 3 fixtures that Salah came out on top on points? I don't think so. You know, Wolves away, we've just seen Chelsea put 6 past them. Palace have not been defending well, and Chelsea, you never know what Chelsea you're going to get. So I actually, in terms of investing Arsenal assets this week, I won't be getting rid of Mo Salah for Saka. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Danny Welbeck out. Couple of reasons. Number one, these are the Brighton fixtures over the next sort of 5-6 game weeks. They're not amazing, and to be honest with you, it's not that they couldn't score. You know, Chelsea, they could easily score. Spurs, Newcastle, they could all score in them 100%. I just think I'd rather have Havertz for those 3. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take Welbeck out of this team, and we are going to replace him with Kai Havertz. Now, of course, we are 0.5 million short, which means we need to free up money elsewhere. Now, looking around the team, could it be Diogo Jota that we free up? Again, do I want to take him out against Wolves away? Probably not. The other option is, do we downgrade Mazraoui, to a 4 million defender, but then that would leave us with a very, very weak bench. Again, I'm not too sure about that. So I'd probably start Rico Lewis for that game and have Mazraoui on the bench, providing Rico Lewis is playing. So which means the only other real option that we've got for this is to remove Trent. Now, it's something that I was thinking about. Would I be comfortable in taking Trent out in this game week? Obviously, you know, Digne's got Ipswich away. We could move him down, but again, it would be to a 4 million defender. So Trent is kind of the only one that frees up enough money. Now, Garnacho we could do, but we're going to wait till we get onto game week 7. There's a reason why we're not going to take Garnacho out yet, at least anyway. So the only other option that we could remove is Alejandro Garnacho. So we're going to have to free up 0.5, which would leave us 5.9. So if we take a look at all the options that we've got in and around that price point at 5.9, so it starts from here. So as you can see, all of these players here, none of these lot really play. You know, Smith Rowe is an option, but if we take a look at Fulham's fixtures, Forest followed by City, Villa, probably not someone that I want to jump on. Now, there is an alternative with Semenyo. He's got Southampton and Leicester at home, which is something that we could possibly do. So I think it would either be Semenyo or Trent. Now, Trent, in terms of defensively, I think Liverpool have been a lot better this season. So it's going to have to be one of them. I think if I can hold Trent, I will do. So let's take a look. If we remove Garnacho for someone like Semenyo, that leaves us 0.3 in a positive. Obviously, that's providing no one else changes prices. Now, if we continue to scroll down, again, around this price point, Kudus is a potential thought. You know, Brentford, Ipswich. West Ham have got good fixtures coming up. But I think if I was going to invest in a West Ham midfielder, I'd probably want it to be Jarrod Bowen. So I think if we just book Semenyo in as that second transfer now, that's a good sign. I'm happy owning Trent against Wolves. The only other thing that we could do is obviously take Trent down to an Arsenal defender like a Saliba or someone. But for me, owning Havertz as a part of an Arsenal attack for Leicester, I'm happy with. Semenyo against Southampton, again, happy with that. Trent, very happy with that as well. So let's just jump to the next game week now, which is going to be game week 7. Now, as you can see on screen, again, I'm very happy with this team lineup. Look, the midfield's strong, the defense is strong. Maybe the double up against Manchester United isn't exactly brilliant from Villa, but the bench, we haven't really got anyone else. So the only transfer that I'd want to make this week is probably trying to bring in Bryan Mbeumo. Now, the only option that we could do in the midfield is take out Diogo Jota. So let's just do that quickly and let's just see how it looks on screen. Let's find Bryan Mbeumo. I think he's about 7 million, 7.1, something like that. Yeah, there he is, 7.1 million. So let's say we put him in. He's got Wolves at home. Now, I like that fixture for him. It obviously frees up a little bit of money, and these are the fixtures that he's got coming up in the future as well. So, yeah, quite happy to do that, actually, and just make that my one free transfer. Again, for this week, you'd probably captain Erling Haaland. Calvert-Lewin up front against Newcastle. Newcastle have been great defensively, so I'm not too mad about having him. And this is the reason why I've got Calvert-Lewin in this team, is because the Greens here, I do think that there's goals for him. He's on penalties. Everton have got to start scoring at some point. And to be fair, they Calvert-Lewin got himself a goal and an assist against Bournemouth. It was the defence that kind of threw the game away. So yeah, happy with this team. So that's game week 7. Let's go into game week 8 now and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is game week 8 now. As you can see, this is where things get a little bit more tetchy. So Semenyo against Arsenal, I probably wouldn't want to start him. I'd much rather start, I think, Mazraoui against Brentford. So let's just change that for a second. Mitoma against Newcastle, I'm not mad about keeping him. Salah at Anfield against Chelsea and Trent as well, happy with them. So we could either roll the transfer or we could look to change someone else. So we could remove a Digne against Fulham away. You know, as you can see, Aston Villa's fixtures are about to swing, and I don't really see many clean sheets in there for them, unfortunately. Potentially we could look to move Digne out. If we did, it'd give us 5.2 in the bank, but I want to try and save as much money as possible. So I'd probably want to switch him for like a like for like. So if we just scroll down here and just have a look at what the 4.5 million defenders are at, Brighton defenders, again, we're probably not going to want to go for them because their fixture's coming up. Chelsea, just look at that. It's just too... I don't see any clean sheets in those next 4 for them, so we'll leave Chelsea alone. Palace, potentially, they've got a good run. You know, Forest, Spurs, Wolves, Fulham. But again, how many clean sheets do we realistically expect from them? I don't think too many, if I'm being real with you, which means we keep going. Now, here, Leif Davis is someone with these fixtures that I potentially would consider making that transfer. So just doing a like-for-like swap. So taking Digne out, and then let's replace him with Leif Davis. Everton at home. Could he get an attacking return? Possibly. Obviously, I've got Calvert-Lewin starting up front, so I'm almost expecting Everton to get a goal. But obviously, the defence, there's no one else that you want to really bring on. So again, that one free transfer, we could roll it. You could roll it, or you could just make the transfer to Leif Davis. I'm not mad at either way. But then if we go into game week 9, again, this is what the team looks like. So Havertz, I probably wouldn't want to start him for this game. He's probably the biggest worry for me against Liverpool. Trent, I think Trent's one of those defenders you just keep regardless of who they're playing. So Havertz for me wouldn't be somebody that I'd want to start. But so Havertz for me isn't somebody that I really necessarily want to start in this game. However, Man City's fixtures, I would want to get on board with that. Now, bearing in mind, this whole team depends on whether Rico Lewis is continuing to play or not. So that is a big thing. Is there a route to possibly get rid of Trent for these upcoming fixtures? I think in this case, my free transfer this week, I'd probably want to get him out. So if I took Trent out now for this, let's just say, for example, I'd probably want to get a Man City defender in, which would be Gvardiol. Now, again, overall, Mazraoui against West Ham, maybe not the best, but overall, I'm happy with the team and I'm happy with the fixtures that we've got. Double up on Man City defense, maybe a little bit risky. We know what City defensively are like, but overall, again, we've got good players there. Havertz against Liverpool, could he score at the Emirates? Yes, he could. 100% he could. So the question then becomes do we start Havertz or do we play Semenyo against Villa away? I think I'd probably want to go for Havertz. I think Havertz is just the better player. And I always say, if you're picking between fixtures, do you pick the better player for the better team with the worst fixture, or do you pick the worst player for the worst team with the better fixture? Always back the better player in the better team because you've got more of a chance of them returning. Arsenal are at home. Could he get the goal? 100% he could. Could he get an assist? 100% he could. So for me, this is how I'd probably leave it. Again, just one free transfer. And taking us to the last game week we're going to look at is game week 10. Again, this is where things get a little bit tetchy. Defense, we can't really bring anyone in. Starting 11 is not too bad. Mazraoui against Chelsea, maybe a little bit iffy. Tottenham against Emi Martinez, maybe. But again, look, Aston Villa with their fixtures coming up, you probably want to keep him for that little run at least until game week 16. So yeah, I think overall I'm happy with that. Probably just roll the transfer for the game week 10. Or potentially you could look at removing Matoma. Now that gives us 8.3 million in the bank. Now, like I said, Jared Bowen, I think, Nottingham Forest, Everton, could definitely score against Newcastle. Maybe Arsenal's a little bit iffy, but then Leicester, Wolves. So I think I'd probably move from Matoma now to Jared Bowen. And then that would be it. That would be my wild card up until game week 10. Again, a team that I'm pretty happy with going with. I think no minuses, touch wood in any of the game weeks. Obviously, things happen and, players get injured. So it's worth just keeping an eye on. But I think overall, this is pretty much a team that I'd be happy going with. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video today. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I will be back probably at some point early next week with a FPL challenge video. Obviously, we'll be in the last week of internationals. We start to build up towards the weekend, so I'll be back with a final team selection video. But yeah, like I said, if you have enjoyed this wildcard draft, don't forget to drop it a thumbs up. It's very temperamental at the moment, so this draft definitely could change. If it does, make sure to follow my Twitter. I'll leave a link of it down below in the description. So make sure you follow that because that's where I sort of give my live by live updates about how my team's going and how it's changing. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching this video and I will catch you guys next time.